Hello, this is Alessandrina from Dexter and Alessandrina, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to be able to really change how you feel and change the nature of your thoughts, as well as reprogram your subconscious mind. It can feel challenging to change and to experience permanent change in our lives. The reason for that is that 5% of the time we are in our conscious mind. And in our conscious mind, we may be aware of what we want to create in our lives, our intentions, our goals. And ultimately, this is only 5% of the time that we spend on those intentions, with our attention on our intentions. And the rest of the time, the 95%, we're actually experiencing the different ways in which the subconscious mind manifests, whether that be sensations, distractions, feelings, emotions, thoughts. And so it can be very, very useful to have a process, and this is going to be the topic, the teaching of today, to really have a process that brings you back to the present moment, brings you back to being conscious and aware and being with what is and working with the energy of what is. So, to experience change, fundamentally, it's a matter of changing our energy state. And again, our energy state is going to be mostly influenced by our subconscious, the 95%. So throughout the day, you might be at times when you're connected to your intention, for instance, you might feel joyful, you might feel hopeful, you might feel happy, you might feel at peace, you might feel focused, you might feel a range of different emotions, positive emotions, when you're in your conscious mind. And the rest of the time, when the subconscious and the different beliefs, the different recordings that you have of yourself, of who you believe yourself to be, those will bubble up at the surface, and you will experience them in the form of maybe negative thoughts, negative emotions, negative beliefs, fears, misapprehensions, different projections onto the present moment or the future about things that you don't want to happen and you don't want to feel. So the way out, right, to shift our energy, which is coming from the subconscious for the most part, 95% of the time, the way out is through. And through meaning through what the subconscious is experiencing. So if we mentally create a vision, an image of what we want to feel, or what we want to be, or who we want to be, that's wonderful. That's something that helps you get in touch with the feelings and emotions from your conscious mind that you want to experience. And ultimately, that's not enough, because unless you were doing that all the time, you wouldn't be permanently shifting your energy, because you would, again, only be in that conscious mind, whether it's through meditation or different techniques that you use, or through presence. You would only be there 5% of the time. So that wouldn't change your energy state fundamentally and permanently. So the only way really to achieve this kind of change is to work with the subconscious, to work with what is, with what's coming up. One of my teachers in Taoism, my acupuncturist, actually uses a metaphor that I find very fitting. He calls it riding the dragon. And so the Taoists have this philosophy of really being present with what comes up, riding the dragon. So riding the dragon is, yes, of course, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling resentful, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling hopeless, whatever it is that you're feeling, it might not be comfortable to feel it. And so it's good to be aware of these emotions and these feelings, and also that they're not going to last forever, meaning that everything passes, and that just because we're in a certain state of being, it doesn't mean that the next moment or the next hour or the next day or the next month will still be there, unless we tell ourselves that we will, and then we experience that as a reality. So when we realize that nothing lasts forever, that nothing is permanent, and that a state of being that we're experiencing is simply something passing, something that we are momentarily experiencing and that will go away. And when we realize that, then we can give ourselves permission to actually work with it, to stay with it, to not try to escape it, to not try to suppress it, to not try to run away from it, to distract from it, to repress it. And the value of that, and this is really what the Taoist teachings are based upon, the value of that is that now you are with this energy, you're accessing this energy. And so when you access this energy, this part of yourself, if you've listened to other videos from myself or Dexter, we talk about fragmentation, meaning that we're not just one person, we're not just a whole. We're made up of many different parts that we've accumulated over time. And if you want to find out more about that, maybe you can look up one of our videos on fragmentation so that you can understand more about that concept. So right now, I'll just refer to that as fragmentation and the fact that we're fragmented and we have parts. So when we learn to stay present with the energy, when we learn to really allow ourselves to be in the discomfort of the anger, the resentment, the despair, the sadness, the depression, or whatever other energy comes up, what happens is that we are able to actually really trace that energy back to its source, back to where the recording originated, back to where the experience or the interpretation of the experience that we've recorded and that we keep re-referencing was first created and recorded in our system. And when we do that, we are actively embodying the energy and working with it. And when we embody the energy, we have a different state of consciousness. So we're not in the same trauma, we're not in the same pain, we're not in the same suffering. We're really more grounded and more present with it and more conscious. And just through that, so what that's called is embodiment. As if you've heard of somatic experiencing, it's all about embodying the trauma, embodying the experience, allowing ourselves to feel what we feel so that we can reintegrate and we can re-inform the body that everything is okay. This is also a concept that is discussed in family constellations, for instance. So if you work with family constellations, which is a process of really tracing back the trauma to its source and releasing it. You don't even have to be aware of what the trauma is per se, at least not cognitively. That said, allowing yourself to feel in your body what you feel allows for that reintegration to happen. It enables you to actually get in touch with that energy, with those currents of energy that are in the subconscious that usually create the sadness, the anxiety, the anger, the resentment, or whatever other emotion tends to kind of cycle in you. And so when you can be with that energy, when you can access it, you can stay with it, you can be present with it, you can embody it, and you can feel it without escaping through the breath, without escaping through your mind, without trying to understand what it is, without putting a label on it, without projecting onto it, without intellectually exploring it to change it or to try to control it. When you stay present with it, you embody it, you feel it, and you explore it, not intellectually, you explore it in the sense that you really stay with it. So you ride the dragon. When you ride the dragon and you stay present with it, then that's when the energy starts to change. Because you are now in a different state of mind, in a different state of consciousness. You are actually observing the energy and being present with it. And it actually allows for the transmutation of that energy to occur. Because rather than the energy being translated, being interpreted by you subconsciously or consciously as there's a problem, something's wrong, something bad is happening, I'm not safe, or any of those statements or feeling sensations might not be verbal, might not even have a name, meaning like in your thoughts you may not think about it in that way, and ultimately that's how your body is experiencing it, kind of in survival, not in a state of being really thriving and essentially feeling good, feeling present, and feeling at peace and safe in the present moment. So when you stay with it, you're now reinforming the body that even that is okay. Nothing bad is happening, nothing's wrong. None of the interpretations that you had made in the past about the situation that felt so dire, that felt so painful, that brought up so much suffering, that actually those interpretations were not accurate, they were not comprehensive, they were not a reflection of what was happening. And so that allows for something new to emerge. That allows for the subconscious to start changing, to start shifting, and for those patterns, those deeply anchored patterns and recordings in your system to go away. And when they go away, when the feeling sensations, when the embodiment changes, when your body feels safe, when your body feels good, when your body feels like everything is okay, that, nothing's bad, wrong, unsafe, potentially leading to negative results. Well, when that stops, it will allow for the energy in you, the life force in you, to start to really be expanded and shared amongst all the organs, all the body systems, thoughts, emotions, in a way that is very wholesome. And so through that wholeness, that wholesomeness, that oneness, that integration, that body, communicating within itself so much better than the parts that were creating the sadness, the anger, and all of that, they become integrated. And now they're resonating with the energy of wholeness, of oneness, of well-being, of goodness. So this process of embodying and staying present with what you feel, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, whatever energies you're processing, the more present you are with them, the more you actually get to transmute them, to clear them, and to now permanently change your energy state. So that's the shift in energy. So that's much more profound than if you were essentially with your mind intending to make things different than they are or escaping into a different reality. You're actually reinforming your body in the present moment that everything is okay, and that all of the things you've imagined that are leading to the anxiety, the stress, the anger, the resentment, the depression, or any other seemingly negative or unwanted emotions and states of being, that those were just the result of imaginings and recordings from the past that were misinterpreted. Today, what I recommend in terms of practice to have, in addition to just staying present with what comes up, not trying to relax around it, not trying to relax into the breath or escape into the mind, really just being present with it, meaning feeling what you feel, feeling the discomfort and staying with it and observing it and allowing for, you can even journal. You can ask yourself, you know, what is coming up, how it's coming up, and what you're experiencing. Just like describing, as if you were describing a painting or a scene in nature. And by doing so, you're working with the energy directly. Another recommendation, a little longer, we have 2 meditations on our website. One is a meditation for healing the inner child that's about an hour long, and that's a very comprehensive meditation to start embodying a new energy by allowing yourself to embody the energy that comes up and the traumas that were recorded, and working with the energy as it is to transmute it in the present moment. And then the other one is very similar, and it's also much shorter. So it depends how much time you have. If you want to do something comprehensive that will help you to comprehensively deconstruct the things in your subconscious that are causing negative thoughts and negative emotions, then I really recommend doing the 1 hour inner child healing meditation. If you have less time, then you can simply practice the shorter version, the 15-minute version of this same inner child healing meditation, and you will also gain good results. Ultimately, if you want to start to have a change that is actually permanent, consistent, it's about repetition. Because if every day you're in a state of stress or a state of anxiety, or, you know, going through different negative thoughts or emotions, this cannot change. If you're repeating that, you're actually reaffirming that to your body, you're reaffirming that to your mind. And so that's going to be the, let's say, the main state of being, the default state of being. So repetition is important. That's why you have like a 1 hour one that you can do maybe, you know, when you have more time. And then you have the 15-minute meditation that you can do every day. And as you reinform your body every day, that things are not what you've imagined them to be and how you've interpreted them to be, now you have the opportunity to really to change things fundamentally by every day reinforcing, revalidating a new message to your body, embodying a new energy, embodying a new way of feeling, of being, and over time that's going to create permanent change, meaning that that's going to become your default state of being, because now your body has become comfortable. There's not these different recordings that are being re-referenced that something's wrong or something is unsafe or something's bad. Really, your body is now grounded in the fact and the experience that everything is okay, that you are safe, and that you've always been safe. And so the things of the past, even the past events, are now reinterpreted, and now there's a shift at that level where actually it's not just in the present moment that you're embodying wholeness and oneness and goodness. You're actually doing it in the past, and you're also creating it for the future. That becomes your default state of being. I hope this is helpful. And if you're interested in going deeper into this process, you may either be interested in participating in our weekly personal development programs, or you may also like to schedule a session with myself or with Dexter, where we can help you really understand what you might be processing in your subconscious that brings up negative thoughts, negative emotions that cycle, and help you really transmute those old energies so that you can actually experience yourself as new, with a new energy, not only once in a while when you meditate, really more consistently, and make great progress and work through the layers of pain or karmas that you've accumulated in this lifetime or other lifetimes if you believe in them. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can either join the program or book a session with us and enjoy being supported and really facilitated through this process of transformation and healing.